marketing myself, but I did it for church groups and couples and families and whatever. So that's how I became involved. And it's exciting. I think it's wonderful stuff, and I hope you kind of feel the same way when we're done. Give you a little bit of the benefits of MBTI to the organization, which is kind of what Sarah wants us to do. We're not an organization, but we are a group with a common purpose and common. There she comes. We have a common goal here, and that is leadership in our church and building our church. So the benefits of the organization: it offers a logical and orderly model of human behavior. It reduces unproductive interpersonal and interorganizational conflicts. It's neither judgmental nor pejorative. It identifies strengths and liabilities of project and work teams, as well as particular organizational levels and functions. And I think that's one thing we can see is this group is doing. It's straightforward, easily understood, builds understanding regarding the organization's norms and culture, helps to assess the fit between person and the job, and they talked a little bit as we discussed these things that we're comfortable doing. Are you the big picture person? Are you, so that kind of describes some of that. It's quick to administer, and I think we found that to be true. Builds an objective framework for dealing with conflict. Hopefully we're not having any conflict. Benefits to the individual, and I hope you realize some of these. It helps individuals learn about themselves and their preferences. Offers a logical and orderly model of human behavior. Is neither judgmental or pejorative again. Helps to raise self-esteem, and that's very important. Helps to assess the fit between the person and the job. Builds an objective framework for emotional issues. Shows how to persuade and influence others, or how to sell your ideas. Helps build better relationships with others on the job and at home. Indicates, and I think this is very important, why some things come more easily to some people than they do to others. And some people find these things difficult. Provides self-awareness in many different areas. Helps people identify the role that environment can play in their well-being, and hopefully improves motivation. The reason we use this is it is a self-reporting instrument. You're taking this totally on your own. Nobody's influencing you. Nobody's bombarding you with questions and putting you on the spot. It is, again, non-judgmental. It indicates preferences. It is well-researched. Intended for use with well people, and I say this because it is based on Carl Jung's theory of typology, and Carl Jung dealt with less than well people. Yes. So when Catherine Briggs and Isabel Myers, mother and daughter, got involved with this, they saw the value of this theory of typology, but they wanted to make it usable for us. So they spent years developing this inventory that you find, because there were years and years of research and different things. So anyway, that's why it's, and we're all well, I hope. It's based on a rich theory. Professionally administered and used internationally. And the last of the workshop objectives: increase self-awareness and confirm self-perception. Learn about the differences in perception, how people take in information, judgment, how they make decisions, and whether they prefer the inner world or the outer world. Appreciate the gifts and strengths of ourselves and others. And that's a very important thing. Learn how to capitalize on our strengths and the strengths of others, and apply the knowledge about personality type. So we're going to start with the what we're talking about, as you probably kind of figured out, is extroversion and introversion. This is your orientation to the outside world. This is where you get your energy. If you're an extrovert, your energy comes from the outside world and everything else that's going on. If you're an introvert, it's within, and we'll have that described a little more. Sensing and intuitive, we use the N because we've already used the I. For introversion, this is how you gather your information. If you're a sensing person, it's coming from the senses, the tactile senses. If you're an intuitive, it's kind of like the, not ESPN, or ESP, that's the TV station. ESP. That's why it's not a but it's coming from a place of possibilities. The thinking and feeling is how you gathered the information. Now you've got to make a decision. So you're either going to use your thinking function or your feeling function. And then When we get down to the J and the P, which is judgmental, which does not mean judging, and perceptive does not, again, mean you've got this psychic power. This is where you are the happiest. Either if you're a J, you're happiest in this function of gathering, of making decisions. You like to make the decision. If you're a P, you're much happier up here in this realm of gathering. What's your options open? Okay. So we're going to look at the slides now.
Do you want me to go back to the beginning?
Preferences.
Back to the beginning? Or here?
Should be the next one.
Oh, sorry.
We didn't rehearse this. Can you read those?
Yeah.
Okay. Extroverts, essentialists. You can't make it any bigger, huh?
I can't.
Can you read it? Okay. The extroverts, essential stimulation is from the environment, the outer world of people and things. The introverts, essential stimulation is from within, the inner world of thoughts and reflections. Both attitudes are used by everybody, and this is what you need to remember. You're not just one or the other. You have to use both to function. The extrovert is pulled outward by external claims and conditions. The introvert feels pushed inward by external claims and intrusions. Extrovert is energized by other people, external experiences. The introvert is energized by inner resources, internal experiences. The extrovert acts and then maybe reflects. The introvert reflects and then maybe acts. The extrovert is often friendly, talkative, easy to know, maybe a little too talkative sometimes, some of us. The introvert is often reserved, quiet, and hard to know. The extrovert expresses emotions. The introvert may tend to bottle up emotions. Extrovert needs relationships, and the introvert needs privacy. The extrovert gives breadth to life, and the introvert gives depth. Ease may seem shallow to eyes, and eyes may seem withdrawn to ease. So these are your two, and you need your tendencies and your orientation to the world, and you need both. Not just, you don't do one or the other all the time, but you need both. But you're more comfortable in your preference. It's like handedness. You have a preferred hand. You do things very comfortably with that. Unlock your car, whatever, keys, but you can do it with your left hand. It's just, it takes more effort and it's not as comfortable. So when you're presenting yourself, you want to present yourself with your best. A few of the things about, extra things about extroverts. They're energized when they are with others, can be drained or bored if they spend too much time alone. They seek affirmation, confirmation, verification of themselves from others, from the world outside. They figure things out most comfortably when they can talk things over with others, are good at meeting people, have good verbal skills, are good at making conversation. At meetings, they speak up easily and often, which might not always be good. They're likely to speak first and then later suffer from foot and mouth problems, like like you've got the gun, you're ready, fire, and aim. So you're fired before you really aim. They dislike or avoid writing, not everybody. They tend to be very aware of who or what is around them. They may be unaware of what's going on inside of themselves. Sometimes they talk or think whatever's going on in their heads coming out their mouth. They generally are easy to get to know. They share a lot about themselves personally. They show the world what they really are. There are few surprises. Extroverts do noisy thinking. They can be chattering, blabbering, but they would like to let you know when it's something they really want you to know, because it could be, you can just kind of filter out some of it, and they should let you know when it's something that they want you to be aware of. Introverts, time alone is important to them. Too much time with people, particularly strangers, can be draining. They seek verification, confirmation, affirmation from what goes on inside of them. They need time alone to figure things out, to get in touch with their introspective strength. They must exert effort to meet new people, may avoid or postpone doing so, may find the give and take of verbal interaction somewhat difficult to keep up with. may have trouble thinking of the right thing to say at the spur of the moment. At meetings, they may hold back and may have trouble getting into a discussion. They need to be invited in, probably not once, but twice maybe to get them to share. They're likely to think afterwards what they should have said, why didn't I say that? And that's kind of the ready, aim, maybe fire, maybe not. They might not be highly observant of the outer environment. They're introspective, they're very aware of their inner reactions. They have an important hidden side, and they can surprise people, are generally difficult to get to know. You can't always tell by how much people talk, if they're introverted, extroverted. Introverts, if they're on a subject that is very important to them, can speak for an hour. But after that hour, how much have you learned about them? It's not personal, it's their agenda, their passion, or whatever. So that's kind of, if you sit on the airplane by somebody, and we all probably have, that want to chatter, probably it's an extrovert, but if it's somebody, if you get involved in something that you see that they're interested in, but after the hour, how much have you learned about them? And it's probably an introvert. Okay, and then we're going to go on to the sensing, and so we know where our energy is coming from here. And again, we do both, but you kind of have an idea what your preference is and where you think you are on that scale, whether it's clear, moderate, slight. Just kind of keep it in your mind, because then when you get your results, you can decide whether that was where you were coming from. So this is now where we're gathering our information. We're going to do, with the sensing function, takes in information, by the way, the 5 senses. That makes sense. Sound, sight, feel, taste, and smell. The intuitive function processes information by way of the 6th sense or the hunch. We're not quite sure where we're getting this, but it's coming in there. Again, both ways are used, but you're more comfortable doing one or the other. The sensing person looks at the specific parts and pieces. The intuitive looks at the patterns and relationships. The sensing person lives in the present, building what's there. The intuitive lives toward the future, anticipating what might be. The sensing person prefers handling practical matters. The intuitive prefers imagining possibilities. The sensing person likes things that are definable and measurable. The intuitive likes opportunities for being inventive. Sensing person starts at the beginning and takes a step at a time. Intuitive jumps in anywhere, leaps over steps. The sensing person works with hands-on, with parts, and they see the overall design. The intuitive studies the overall design to see how the parts fit together. The sensing person uses set procedures, established routines. The intuitive likes change and variety. The S's may seem materialistic and literal-minded to the ends, and may seem fickle, impractical, and dreamers. We kind of all know people that fit in both categories. Again, you do both. You need both for balance, but you're more comfortable doing one or the other. Some of these sensing behaviors. Sensing see what is. They're quick to grasp details. They're realistic. They prefer reality to fantasy, are specific, literal when speaking, writing, or listening. Describe the facts first, and then may or may not state the general point. May have trouble seeing the big picture. Can be quick to see solutions to practical, concrete problems. May have trouble seeing solutions to complicated theoretical or abstract problems. Focus easily on the specifics necessary to successfully carry out an assignment. Generally do not like complicated theory. I always give the example of get a new bicycle or something that has to be assembled. The sensing person will get out the directions, they'll lay all the pieces and make sure all the parts are there. They will follow step 1, step 2, step 3. The intuitives get the bike, they know what a bike looks like, they know how it's supposed to be assembled. So they'll start, they'll put this, and then they'll find out that didn't work, and then maybe they'll look at the directions, maybe they won't, but they're stubborn enough to think they can figure it out. So these are some of the key words with sensing intuitive. Oh, I didn't do the intuitives. Intuitive sees what could be, are likely to be tripped up by details, are imaginative, prefer fantasy to reality, are general and abstract when speaking, writing, or listening, make the general point and then may or may not describe the facts, are quick to see the big picture, are likely to be impatient with or ignore practical, concrete problems, can come up with imaginative solutions to complicated theoretical or abstract problems, often do not even want to think about the specifics necessary to carry out an assignment. They enjoy or are at home with theory and abstractions. A feeling where you fit in this? And how strong you think you are? Okay, so now we've gathered our information either by sensing or intuition. Now we've got to make a decision on how we use this information. So you're going to do that with your thinking. This doesn't have anything to do with intelligence or your feeling. It doesn't, kind of, these are Jungian terms. So you're either going to be making decisions based on thinking or the feeling. Okay, you've gathered the information, so what are you going to do with it? The thinking function decides on the basis of logic, objective considerations. Feeling function decides on the basis of personal, subjective values. Again, you use both, but you're more comfortable and confident in one or the other. The thinking characteristic, they decide with their head. The feeling characteristic is deciding with the heart. The thinking goes with logic. The feeling goes with personal convictions. The thinking is concerned for truth and justice. Feeling is concerned for relationships and harmony. Thinking sees things as an onlooker from an outside situation. Feeling sees things as a participant from within the situation. Thinking takes a long view. Feeling takes an immediate and personal view. The thinking person spontaneously finds flaws, criticizes. The feeling person spontaneously appreciates.
Sorry.
Thinking person is good at analyzing plans. Feeling person is good at understanding people. The T may seem cold and condescending to F's. The F may seem fuzzy-minded and emotional to T's.
Fuzzy-minded.
About 50% on the sensing and intuitive, I think about percentage of, about 3 out of 4 people are sensing types, so sensings have it on the intuitive side. On the thinking and feeling, about 50%, the general population are thinking. This is the one where the males tend to be, 60% of the males tend to be thinking, as opposed to 40% of the females. It's the only one. And when I scored your inventories, there's a separate grid that I scored the men on. That's the only one where there seems to be a difference. Okay, the thinking. In their decision makings, they seek to identify and apply principles of right and wrong, principles that have universal applicability. Their decisions link things by logic, by impersonal constructs. They focus on the content involved in a decision. They screen out their decision making, their own emotions and emotions of others. They are uncomfortable with decisions that involve their own emotions and the emotions of others. They avoid discussing these issues. They are analytically oriented in their decisions. They respond more easily to people's thoughts. Their decisions are the way they express, and the way they express them may hurt people without their being aware of it. When decisions call for it, they can reprimand people or fire them. In decisions that affect them, they need to know that they have been treated fairly. In decisions, they often are not upset when decisions involve conflict, and they can get along without a lot of harmony. And they're good at exploring the logical, impersonal consequences of actions and decisions. Feeling types, their decision making, they sort out and their own personal values and the values of people in institutions that matter to them. They're totally involved in this whatever's going on. Decisions link things according to their value. They think of personal considerations when they make decisions. They find it difficult to focus exclusively on the content of a decision. They are uncomfortable with decisions that require ignoring their own emotions and the emotions of others. They know how to bring these issues into the decision-making process. They are more people-oriented in their decisions, and they respond more easily to people's values. When decisions call for it, they have difficulty telling people unpleasant things. In decisions that affect them, they need to be appreciated and praised. Are sensitive to situations involving conflict. Often know how to surface and resolve conflict, and can be negatively affected when conflict is ignored. Are good at assessing the human impact of actions and decisions. I haven't been are there any questions I should have been asking? Okay, so now that again, you use both, but you're more comfortable in one or the other. So now that we have gathered our information, we've made decisions using one or the other, we come down to judging and perception. Again, it's not judgmental, it's not thing. The judging people are much happier in the realm of making the decisions. This is where they function the best. The P's are back up here still gathering information. We're not going to shut any doors because we still might find others. So this is happier in the gathering information. The J's are happier in making decisions. The judging lifestyle is decisive, planned, and orderly. Perceptive lifestyle is flexible, adaptable, and spontaneous. The judging lifestyle prefers an organized lifestyle. The perceptive prefers a flexible lifestyle. The judgment lifestyle likes definite order and structure. Perceptive likes going with the flow. The judgment likes to have life under control. Perceptive prefers to experience life as it happens. The judgment enjoys being decisive, and perceptive enjoys being curious, discovering surprises. The judgment lifestyle likes clear limits and categories. Perceptive likes freedom to explore without limits. Judgment lifestyle feels comfortable establishing closure. Perceptive feels comfortable maintaining openness. Judgment handles deadlines, plans in advance. Perceptive meets deadlines by last-minute rush. J's may seem demanding, rigid, uptight to P's. P's may seem disorganized, messy, and irresponsible to J's. Some of you are chuckling. Again, in population, it's about 50-50. Some of the characteristics, behaviors of the judging: they work best when they can work a plan. They like to get things settled and finished. They may decide things too quickly, may cling too long to a plan or a list, may dislike interrupting the project. They are on for a more urgent one, want to get right to the point, can't be satisfied once they have reached a judgment on a situation, thing, or person, are time and deadline oriented, feel time pressures early. I'll give the example of the term paper. When you were all in college and you had term paper to do, the judging would get their outline and they'd be getting their, well, now you'd be Googling, you wouldn't be going to the card catalog. They wouldn't have this all organized. P, on the other hand, might do an outline and then they're going to wait till the very end. But that they don't get the energy and they don't get the motivation if it comes late, so they come screaming in at the end. Perceptive people are well adapted to changing situations. They're energized by new situations and can respond resourcefully. They do not mind leaving things open for changes. May have trouble making decisions. May not make or follow lists or plans even when the situation calls for them. May postpone unpleasant tasks. May want all available data. Tend to be curious and welcome new light on a situation, a thing, or person. tend to think there is plenty of time and feel time pressure late. Any questions about the J and the P? Okay, so these are some things to keep in mind. We have skills, abilities, and abilities relating to each of the preference pairs. Extroverts have introverted sides, introverts have extroverted behaviors. Sensing types have intuitive abilities. Intuitive types collect sensing data. Thinking types make feeling judgments, and feeling types sometimes make thinking judgments. Judging types can be flexible and spontaneous. I would say that the judging types organize their spontaneity. They're going to plan how they're going to be spontaneous. Whereas perceptive types spontaneously organize. It's like, oh yeah, busy and do this. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Any other questions? Want to see your results?
Then there
I
might be
think we know.
questions.
Well, I don't know many of you very well. I was just kind of surprised. Carrie, I'll put here for you, but Vondelay is not here. Betty is here. She's sick.
She's still sick.
And she apologized for last week. She had a-
Yes, she did.
Joe.
Joe's not here.
There you go, Joe. Oh, that's right, Joe. Oh, yeah, okay. Joe Walker. Okay. Doug. Jerry Thompson. Stewart. Huh? Oh, that's right, okay, I'm sorry. Stacy's not here.
No, they're not.
Jimmy.
I guess right.
Opposite.
Yeah, I guess right.
Now, the graph shows you the strength of your answers. That doesn't mean you're the one that decides whether this is true for you. I know the first time I took it, I was on the staff, I was a business manager, and I answered a lot of questions as an S because I was keeping the books. What was my minister and my boss going to think if I didn't like detail? But then when we did the interpretation and the evaluation or the validation, I thought, oh, I'm an N. Anybody have any big surprises? Anything that you're not comfortable with, or?
Yeah, you check me as a female.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know we did. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
That's pretty basic. I'd be a little worried about that one.
This is just a nice little synopsis of the various types. And if you are willing to share your type, you don't have to. Technically, nobody can make you share your type if you don't want to. I can give you, we would like for the group to know, because that's kind of what we're all about. If you would spend some time looking at this, if you're not sure that your outcome is what you expected, and if you do want to share, I'd like to have that up here so we can see. And you're willing to do that. And if you want also to share, I have probably 10 or 12 page description of your type. I can bring you copies of it. It's like, if you're sure about your type, it's like somebody's looking in your window. It's very affirmative. But, so if you can share that with me, I can make those copies and bring them next time. And you can see how this would apply to the team building that we're doing here, because our strengths are in different places. So we need the big picture people, that would be the intuitives, and we need the worker bees, and
You're a what?
Yeah, that's just a little more detailed when I hand it out. Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Stuff on the back. Now, some people say, well, isn't it better if you're just kind of like in the middle? Not necessarily, because again, you're more comfortable. It's like listening to two different radio stations in two different ears because you're back and forth. So it's really kind of better if you're, you know, a little more decisive. And the theory also holds that as we get older, our types don't change, but we're more willing to try. We're comfortable in the one we're doing, and so we're more willing to try. Like my husband is definitely an introvert, but at this point in our lives, he's more willing to be extroverted, and I'm an extrovert. I'm more willing to spend time alone. So that's other.
You're not nearly as intense.
Right.
Yeah.
Where this was true.
Yeah. And you know, you're in different work situations, different, you know, I mean, but your type, the theory holds your type stays your whole life. I did this with my son when he was 13, and it was, wow, it still is, he's 41. So. If and when you're willing to share, you can come up and
We should put our letters.
I'll share.
What do you
Okay,
Or
just put your name and what your letters are,
Oh, okay.
so we can kind of get a feeling for.
Oh, we're not gonna read this to the file.
Right.
We might all do the same.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Take it over.
Yeah, good.
Right in my,
Oh, okay.
What do you do for a profession?
retired teacher.
Yeah.
It's right in there.
Oh, okay, see. ISTJ, so he's gonna tell you what an ISTJ is. As much as he agrees with
It
me.
is what it pretty much
Pretty
says.
much, okay.
ISTJs are quiet and serious, responsible, sensible, patient, and steadfast. Maintainers of society's time-honored traditions and institutions. And I'm pretty much old school and all that kind of stuff. This Rock of Gibraltar type needs to be needed and readily takes on a parental role in their working relationships as well as their family. They settle in occupations in law enforcement, teaching, I'm a retired teacher, banking and finance, conservative religion, business, and administration. ISTJs work well in jobs requiring accurate record-keeping of facts and figures. They are enforcers of the law, policy, procedure, schedules, and principles, and they exert a stabilizing effect in society. Hard work, honesty, politeness, timelessness, and faithfulness to family, friends, and country are foremost among the ISTJs' honored values. ISTJs resist change in all aspects of their lives and see most innovation as disruptive. I guess the last part is not that hard line on it,
Well, I mean,
but I'm probably the last one to change over.
this is a continuum. This whole thing is a continuum, you know.
Stuff I would never do.
I'm the last one, ISTJ.
Okay.
How are you?
And I am also.
Uh-oh, oh my goodness.
Oh, guys.
The guys are all that. The guys are all, are you?
Yeah,
Oh,
I, was he?
she's right now. Everybody.
Yeah, so.
Oh, okay. Oh, all the guys are.
I am.
This girl is too.
Yeah.
This really
Are you
girl.
female now or not?
And
And
you
how?
are.
I am.
Now the one that-
Yes, I'm the girl.
You were surprised?
I'm surprised that you, no,
You
weren't
are.
interested.
One of the guys.
Huh?
I'm surprised that you weren't
I
interested.
did, it was not.
Because I probably know you the best of anybody here.
I am a practice extrovert.
You've been rehearsing.
Huh?
You've been rehearsing.
I've rehearsed for a long time. No, not on this.
No, I mean,
Just
on
did what?
extroverted.
Yes, no, that was amazing.
Right.
And you fully agree with all of that? Okay. Who isn't an ISTJ?
I'm not.
I'm not.
I know you're not.
Wow.
Betty?
Yes,
Is that a
and maybe
normal?
some other ones over there that are didn't come.
Oh.
These guys
Are there
all
more
here.
that didn't come that are ISTJ?
Well, I can't
You can't say.
I can't say that because they have to validate
They
it.
have to validate.
ESFJs are outgoing, sociable, practical, and organized. They pride themselves on their reflexive skills to serve, harmonize, and entertain others. Warm, friendly, and naturally talented in working with people, ESFJs make excellent salespeople, nurses, teachers, homemakers, and hosts. They work well as club and committee members, and their type numbers conspicuously among volunteer, church, charitable, and civic organizations. Traditional, conservative, and loyal, ESFJs work hard, devoting their time and energy to family and friends. Although they derive personal satisfaction from helping others, ESFJs need verbal and tangible strokes of appreciation for their good work. When they do not receive the kind of recognition and reciprocation they feel is due, ESFJs may suffer attacks of righteous indignation.
Oh, seriously?
Pat her on the back.
So,
So, maybe.
right now it's all about me, guys.
And you did a good job.
Oh,
But-
Left no doubt in anybody's mind. I know what this one is.
Do you know?
I do.
Was anybody else like?
Now, any other ESFJs? I think there were only 2 extroverts, I think it was Betty and yours truly. Hey, tell us how wonderful we are.
Jerry,
Oh.
you're an extrovert.
ENFPs are open-minded, imaginative, caring, and outgoing. They thrive on the drama of life. I taught drama of life by observing everything enthusiastically and associating meaning and human motive with all they survey. To the ENFP, no life event is devoid of significance, a belief which may justify others' perceptions of them as hyper-alert, oversensitive, and suspicious at times. I don't know about that. Charming, charismatic, communicative, and ingenious. ENFPs are often multi-talented individuals who may succeed in a number of creative endeavors, so long as a strong human element is present. I think that, I taught drama, and that kind of goes with it. Their characteristically short attention span,
What?
squirrel,
What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
and diversity of interests may sabotage their accomplishment in careers that was very
Career.
or enterprises demanding tenacity and single-mindedness. This type's natural gift for inspiring others often is their salvation. The projects ENFPs start may be completed by their followers. That's true.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
very
or
true.
we start other
Yeah,
things.
I can come up with the ideas, but I don't know.
Well, then you lose interest in it.
Yeah, it's boring. Okay, yeah. That was it.
All right.
I was gonna say on mine where I fit in with all of them there, that I was a math teacher for my career.
Yeah.
And my family, I only had my mom, my dad, and my brother, so there was a small family, and they were all accountants. And so the genes are there that, we're a very not people-oriented type. But I said to my parents, I'm not gonna be an accountant because I like people better than the numbers. So I was a math teacher, so that's why.
That's my daughter.
That's why that
My daughter.
fits up there.
Cool.
And math wasn't a field for women when I.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, you're probably right.
But it was in my genes so strongly.
Well, you
that
didn't have a choice.
I read.
You're a Presbyterian, you're a preordained.
That's right.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
You didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see it.
I am an
That's right, you were the other one.
E.
Yes.
Believe it or not, I
J.
am. Okay, assertive, practical, it's all boring. actually.
It's not, it's
Assertive,
necessary. This is the
assertive,
group.
practical, rational, opinionated, and decisive.
Issue?
The ESTJ is a take-charge person who brings others into line by assigning tasks and roles, giving clear-cut instructions, following up regularly to check progress, and giving formal recognition to those who do as they've been told. Oh my gosh. The ESTJ prefers to enforce existing policies and procedures rather than to innovate, revise, or otherwise introduce change into any system. Traditional and conservative, the ESTJ applies a military model to most life situations, preferring linear channels of communication and command, and detesting any disorganization or confusion. In business, organizational, administration, law enforcement, or the military, this type is evident as a no-nonsense leader, often short on feelings and finesse, but obviously gratified by the power and control that comes with being in charge. A lot of that is me.
But not, not all of it, I mean.
I work in clinical research. I collect data, I go through.
Oh, there you go.
I am my job is very rigid.
You make me collect data and report on, I'm like, the ENFP can't.
No.
News.
Forget that.
Never mind. I'm an INTJ.
Got the intuitive thing going on there, huh?
So it says logical, independent, self-confident, innovative, and driven by the inner world of ideas and possibilities. The INTJ is a natural innovator, convinced that reality can be changed. And it says but that she can do it. The INTJ's focused attention to her personal mission may be inspiring or frankly obsessive, depending on your viewpoint or the success of the enterprise. Oh, I saw your hand.
I don't know her. What? I don't know her. I'm just trying to get to know her.
Introspective and somewhat shy, the INTJ relies solely on logical analysis and intuition to guide her thoughts and decisions, justifying her description as cool or chilly by more feeling types. INTJs respect competency and intelligence, but they are unawed by rank and title alone. Attracted to analytical areas of study, often involving science or mathematics, INTJs succeed in many applied fields such as engineering, geology, astronomy, architecture, as well as business administration.
And you are an actuary, did I hear?
So I studied actuarial science and quantitative economics, and then I was a financial
Didn't we all?
consultant. So that's very much me.
So you're now our treasurer, right?
Yes, I am.
They recognized you in church on Sunday even though you weren't here.
She's not impressed? No. But she really loves me and I really love her.
We do.
We really love each other. Though on paper it doesn't look like we would.
No, that's, Hey, Jerry, are you?
ISFJs are private, sensible, organized, sensitive and loyal, shy, modest, and unassuming. This type needs to support and minister to others in order to feel useful. Others count on the ISFJ steadfast caring and help, so much so that they become irresponsible. Martyrdom is an occupational hazard for the self-sacrificing ISFJ. Work is life to this conservative type, who puts in long hours at the workplace as well as at home. Chaos and uncertainty are inheriting to the ISFJ. They prefer a well-regulated scheduled life, even if someone else is in control what will happen and when. The ISFJ gravitates towards traditional occupations. They make excellent secretaries, clerks, nurses, preschool and elementary teachers, and homemakers. They are happy handling details and routine. Being in the spotlight is unnerving to them. ISFJs.
What is your profession?
I'm a medical receptionist.
Okay, I thought you had something to do with medical. Very good. Kara?
I'm the same as Jerry. Yes.
Okay. So you agree with that?
I guess I'm in the right position here at the church.
You're a lot by yourself.
Yes, I am.
You were way far on the ice.
We got any peas? Oh, yeah, Janine doesn't.
Mine didn't say any jobs, I guess.
Well, we can't stay with one job. Anyway, bless you.
Thank you. Is that not good? Do we get to keep these?
You get to keep those, and if you are good with this, I'll bring you your multi-page description next time, and I think that'd be fun. Sarah kind of wanted us to discuss, I think, what we all can bring and what we can, but I think you need a little time to digest this and read the other types now that you know, if you want to mark down on your sheet who these are, then as we deal with each other through this process, then you're gonna say, okay, well, that's why they wanted to make a decision and be done with it, and I wanted to keep it open, or they don't care about people's feelings, and I really do, and why they want to be, you know, it's right or it's wrong, there's no gray area, so I think
What are you, Barbara?
Janita.
Oh, okay.
She's me.
Scary, two of us.
We're retired, we don't work.
Scary, two of us.
Yeah.
Carol, do you have any pens up there? Are you?
Oh, and your star pen.